How do you replace the motor in a ducted unit? Today I'm going to show you how to replace a motor in a ducted unit, give you some tips for installing a ducted unit so you don't have to do what we're doing today. You're watching HVAC Tips for Technicians. I'm Tad. Let's get started. Got my brother Nick and James with me today, and this is the pancake style ducted unit. It's up in the attic area. We've got a multi-zone outdoor unit, which I'll show you. And we've got 3 indoor heads. We got 1 wall mount in the garage, 1 wall mount air handler in the sunroom, and then this is the upstairs unit, and it's got duct work, and it's really nice. But we did not hang the unit, because if we would have hung the unit, it would have taken up most of the attic access, and we really wouldn't have had room to walk around it. So we cannot access the bottom of this ducted unit, and that's why you have these 4 brackets on the corner, so that you can actually hang it. And we usually do that, but for this one we couldn't. And if you listen, you can hear the sound the motor's making. Listen, you hear that? That is the bearings for that motor, and it's sealed bearings, so you cannot oil that motor. We've got to replace it. Now I've got the motor right here, and if you're curious, there's the part number for that motor, and this is an 18K model. I'll show you that right here. 18K model, see? So it's a 1.5 ton. So I'm gonna go pump the unit down, and then we're going to be able to take the copper connections loose. We're gonna have to cut the drain. We're gonna take the unit out, flip it over, and I'm gonna show you how to get to that motor. Really nice install though. Really nice install. All right, let's go. Here's the outdoor unit, and we've got 3 indoor units, so we've got 3 sets of piping. I'm gonna go ahead and take the Phillips bit that I've got in the cordless drill, take this panel off, attach the gauges, and start pumping the equipment down. Now I'm ready to perform the pump down. I've got the Allen tool ready to close the suction line and the liquid line service valve. Before we start the pump down, we're going to close the liquid line service valve using the Allen tool. I've got the 1/4 inch to 5/16 adapter. That way I can hook up the hose and the gauges. That way I can know when to close the suction line service valve. And we've got to pump all that refrigerant from all those indoor units, all those indoor heads, into the outdoor unit before we can disconnect those copper connections or flare connections to that ducted unit, so we can actually remove it. So I've got the liquid line service valve closed. I'm ready for the pump down. We're going to push the K1 button 1, 2, 3, 4 times. Now we're in pump down operation. Equipment is on and running. It didn't take a minute or 2 for it to turn on, and you can see what's happening. Low side pressure is dropping. So I'm going to take the Allen tool and move it to the suction line service valve. Make sure that I can turn it, and looks like we're at 50. I'm going to wait till we're at 0, and then we're going to close the valve. That's how you pump down these Samsung multi-zone FJM free joint multi systems. I love it. I love the K buttons. If you want to learn more about the K buttons and what they do, check out the service manual. You can download the service manual for any model number of outdoor unit at samsunghvac.com under technical documents. Almost there. We're at 20. And we are almost there. We're at about 5. All right, I'm going to go ahead and close it. It just hit 0. You can actually turn it like this. Well, let me turn it a little more. There we go. And then once I'm done and I've got this valve closed, make sure they're closed. Now we're going to take and push K3. I'm going to reset in the pump down operation. And then I need to unplug the disconnect. That way we don't have power to that ducted unit. Brother Nick and James have disconnected the return and supply duct connections. So we're ready to go ahead and take the power connections loose and the copper connections loose, and then the drain connection. Now that we got the slim duct unit disconnected from the duct connections, now we can see that this is the bottom of the unit right here. Then we see this was the box that contained our blower motor, and you can see there's two shafts. Usually a motor has one shaft, but this one has two blower wheels, one on each side. So we're going to have to take this panel right here, which is on the bottom of this ducted unit. This right here was the top. This is what you've seen, and we've got our wheel and our motor inside. You'll see that after we take the screws off. So let's go ahead and take the screws off. About 7 screws, not very much. There is the wheels, which they look like they're pretty dirty, and that's probably the reason that we've got this bearing issue. Now, to take this out, it's pretty simple, but you're going to need an extension. So I'll show you what we're doing here. You can see we got some screws right here, but we've only got to take 2 of those loose. This one right here, and this one right here. And then the other thing we got to do is we got to take this bracket loose right here. So this one right here, and then this one right here. All right, so we got 4 screws. 2 were small, 2 were large. Now, the next thing we got to do is we got to take the power loose. As you can see, this motor has a cable, and we're just going to take it out of. All right, here's the plug. All right, we got 1 zip tie to cut, so but we didn't have to. Just unravel it. Now we're going to pull that Molex plug back through this little seal or grommet, and here it is. Now all we got to do is take this motor. Oh, we got these brackets actually. All right, take those brackets, slide them off. That's what holds the bearings. All right, see how it's loose now? Now to take the wheels loose, we've got, because I'm going to take all this out, we need to clean it. So we can take these connectors off. Looks like there's 3 of them. See, like that right there. There's 1. Those are the blower housings. They're plastic, and that is so nice, having the ability to take the top half off. Be careful. Don't want to break it. There we go. Now it's out. You can see it's dirty, and that's the reason when we did this job, it was new construction, and I bet you that some of this is from the construction process, this dirt. And we got a set screw right there. So all right, spins freely though, but it's making that noise. I'm going to take it outside, I'm going to clean the wheel, and then I'm going to take and put the new wheels on the motor. And you can mark the old shafts with a marker and tape measure so you know where to tighten the set screw down on the new motor for the new wheels attached to the new motor. All right, let's go outside and clean it. So if you take your finger, wipe it on the wheel, you notice it's white. That looks like sheetrock dust. So we're going to clean that wheel up, make it look shiny. No coil cleaner required. It's coming right off there. Doesn't take much though to have to replace a motor. Alright, so some of this, gotta wipe it off. There's the new cleaned wheel. Now let's attach the wheel to the new motor by taking out these set screws. That way we can take that wheel off the shaft. We got 2 set screws to loosen up with our Allen tool. All right, we got both the wheels loosened up, so it should come right off there. All right, there's one, and there's the other one. Wow. All right, time to put the wheels on the new motor. All right, so make sure it's on the flat part of the shaft. It only goes on there so far, so that's nice. Is it on the flat part of the shaft? Looks like it is. All right. Flat part of the shaft. Beautiful. Now we're ready to reinstall it. Now we're going to clean the housing out, because you can see there's a bunch of sheetrock dust there, and look at that. Look at that. So we're going to get these housings cleaned out by wiping them off with some water, some towels, wet towels and water. Look at that. All right, let's put it back together. So, sliding. Okay, so we need the Allen tools, because it looks like I pushed them too far in and they're both hitting. The wheels are both hitting. Yeah, so once you get the motor where the bearings are sitting on the metal pieces, this bracket here, then you just adjust each wheel so that it's centered in between the blower housing. Now that I've got it centered, I just take and spin it, make sure nothing is hitting, and we can go ahead and put it all back together. All right, we're going to take and put the 2 screws on the very bottom here. 1 and 2. I do like the design though. Super nice. I mean, there was a lot of thought that went into this. I want to make sure that the power cord that comes from the motor is actually angled down. All right, now we take these pieces here, and one goes on the left side, one goes on the right side. Slip those up. You can actually slide it over from the side, it looks like. That's pretty tight. Tell you what, I'm just going to go from the top. All right, like that. There's one. Here's the other one. All right, so goes underneath like this, and then goes over the top like so. And then we've got this piece here. This goes right there. Now we can take these 2 bolts here and put them in place. All right. And this one. And it looks like these can be over tightened, I think. But that looks pretty good right there. Let's spin it again. All right, we're in good shape. Now let's take the housings that we've cleaned. Looks like we need to clean the top part. Look at that dust. All right. Try to leave stuff better than we find it. Also, if you have a ducted unit where it's installed without the brackets and it's not hung, it's actually laying on the bottom part, then you need to make sure you have at least another person with you, because this job would have went been a lot worse if I hadn't had help. So I'm glad I got Brother Nick and Brother James with me. So there you go, guys. Now, you can't say I don't appreciate you. Taddy loves you. Look at that, man. That's so nice. Now, before we close it up, I'm going to reattach the Molex plug on the board where it goes. And you want to slip it in these brackets just so the wire doesn't get caught in the wheel. And I'll show you on the board where we plug in that Molex plug. All right, right there. And then here is where we plug it in. Oh, upside down. Just like that. Now, cover. Very exciting. Putting the cover on. We're almost ready to put this back together. I'll go ahead, and while Nick and James are putting the duct connections back together, I will go ahead and pump the system full of nitrogen, do the pressure test, then vacuum, and then we will open the valves back up. Now I'm going to use my digital torque wrench made by Van Poe, and I am going to go ahead and tighten the flare connection. So I'm going to push C to turn it on, and then we're going to do the larger flare connection first. And for this larger flare connection, you can actually check what the torque spec is by looking at the installation manual on Samsung's website. But if you can take a look right here, we're going to do this 3/8 connection. We're going to do this at about 25 to 30. So, right there. All right, and then the 1/4 inch, we're going to tighten this one to 10 to 13. So put my other wrench on here. So yeah, check out the installation manual on Samsung's website to know what the torque pound per foot is. Oh, it looks like this one needs to be tightened up. All right, now it's tightened up. All right, here we go. Take a look at the screen. We're going to go in between 10 and 13. Look at that. Oh, beautiful. Link in the description for this. Go check it out. Really cool. So, really cool. Van Poe digital torque wrench. Put some nitrogen in. Now I've got the vacuum pump running. All right. If you don't know how to use a vacuum pump, check out the video I'll put down a link in the description. If you don't know how to charge a mini split, check out the video I'll put down a link in the description. Almost done with the vacuum pump. 384 on the micron gauge. We're almost ready. Open the valves back up. Now I'm putting the caps back on, and I'm going to put the cover back on and go upstairs and turn the fan on for the ducted unit and see if the sound, well, see if we hear a sound. And if the problem is fixed, should be fixed. Let's go check. Here's the wall mount for the garage area. Here's the wired controller for the ducted unit. Fan speed's on high. Let's go upstairs and see if we can hear an unusual sound. Now, let's hear the difference in the sound. All I hear is air. Sounds pretty good. Hope you enjoyed today's video. I hope you learned something. If you did learn something, let me know what it was down in the comments. If you got a question, put it down below, because questions can lead to new content. I hope now you know how to replace a blower wheel or a blower motor in a ducted unit like this made by Samsung. If you want more videos like this, go check out my playlist, HVAC Tips for Technicians. I've got hundreds of videos of live experience as a technician in the field so that you can learn how to be a better HVAC technician. If you like the video, hit the like button, subscribe, and smash that bell, ding, so you know what I'm doing. You've been watching HVAC Tips for Technicians. I'm Tad, and I'll keep you cool if you let me.